Releasing fear and emotional blocks. Here's what we're going to cover in this training. Understanding emotional blocks and trapped energy. The science behind emotional release. How to release fear and resistance. And action steps. Warning: this is the most important video in the entire course. Watch the entire video, don't skip, don't fast forward. And a pro tip: I used to say watch in the other trainings, watch this video in 2 times speed or whatever suits you. But for this video, if you are at a point in your life, in your reality, where this is, you're ready to this, your system is ready to this, you're ready to manifest a new reality with what I'm sharing, then I really invite you to not in this video change the speed, but really be with me and my energy here. And before I dive into the training, I actually want to tell you that if we look, and this is from my experience, if we look at manifesting the life that you want, your dream life, we went through the vision meditation, powerful, very powerful stuff, and that's a beginning. It's a shift in energy. You probably felt that, still feeling it hopefully. The mindset shift that we went through in the foundation here also is deep shifting. I wouldn't even call it a technique, but it's just deep shifting of your reality. Doing this thing will change how your brain, in a positive way, because you are changing your beliefs, the path in your brain, supporting you to get you to your dream life as soon as possible. I mentioned earlier that the emotional part of this, from my experience, is the next level. It's deeper. I went through my $1.5 million debt, the 3-day seminar, going into this whole mindset shift, and I will share something in this training, very real experiences from my own life that's still today, I'm blown away how my system was working at the time. This, what I'm sharing now, came after my narcissistic relationship. My system was not ready to this deep work. The narcissistic relationship, 5.5 years of being manipulated, of being cheated and lied to, was what it took me to really crack all the walls, all the masks, all the facades, all the things that my system had built up to protect that little boy who was not protected, who was not loved, at least not feeling the love. So what I'm sharing with you, I'm just really doing my best to, from my heart, from my soul, to let you know that this is very powerful stuff. Let's dive into it. Understanding emotional blocks and trapped energy. Emotions stay in the body. Emotional experiences aren't just mental. They leave imprints in the nervous system, muscles, and even organs. Studies show that unprocessed emotions can manifest as physical tension, chronic pain, or fatigue. Resistance from unprocessed trauma. Fear, doubt, and trauma create subconscious blocks that prevent progress. When emotions aren't processed, they form patterns of avoidance, limiting beliefs, and self-sabotage, keeping you stuck in the same cycle. Emotions shape reality. Our emotions, our subconscious mind runs 90 to 95% of our life, and it's shaped by past emotional experiences. If old fears dominate, they influence thoughts, decisions, and actions, making it harder to manifest what you truly desire. So, first of all, I told you before I shared my story about my pain in my stomach, solar plexus. I had a pain for many years, and I had a fear, a deep-rooted fear that something was wrong with me, that I had some kind of cancer. And for many years, when I was working my job in the coffee shop business, I was afraid of this, even though I was so busy building my career, building my apartment portfolio, these things that I shared. I was so busy, and I had so much fear inside of me of contacting the doctor and saying, I do think there's something wrong with me, because I was actually afraid of what they find. And I know from clients, from friends, that this is not only me. So many people experience that they are running around with something in their body that they're afraid of, but they're also afraid of what would they find out if they went to the doctor, if they went through scans and all of this. As I also shared, I finally found the courage, which I really recommend anybody, found the courage to go and get checked out at the doctor. And they checked me, and then they sent me to, I don't know what this is in English, but I got a camera inside of me, and they checked all my inside organs here to figure out if there was any kind of cancer in my digestion system, and there wasn't. They couldn't find anything at all. So one thing that has nothing to do with this, and still it has, but that I got it checked out and the doctor said there's nothing wrong here, that helped me on a surface level of not being afraid that something was wrong with me. But it didn't change the fact that I felt the pain in my stomach, in my solar plexus. So one part of this is I can only advise, and especially for busy entrepreneurs, busy career-driven people like I was, if what I share just reminds you a little bit of you, meaning not going and get checked in these things, I can really, really, really invite you to go and get checked, because either something is not wrong and you don't have to think about that, or something is wrong and you can from there act and figure out how to proceed from there. But then you can create an action plan for that, and it releases a lot of energy. So my was solar plexus. I had things with my one side of the head, and I was very tensed. For many years I had a chronic head pain, and also here I got scanned and everything. There was nothing wrong. So at this part, for me, when I learned these things, and it was not after the narcissistic relationship, it was not to let go of the stomach pain, it was not to let go of the headache why I did it, but I found out that by releasing emotions that was stuck in my body, energy that was stuck, trauma that was stuck, suddenly my pain in the solar plexus disappeared, and the same thing in my head, it disappeared. So it was something that was stuck in my body. That's why I say emotional experiences aren't just mental, and there's science proof for this. And also resistance from the unprocessed trauma. As I say, the mindset shifting is and has been very powerful for me. If we speak about jumping in, stepping into a new reality with much more money and things like that. The thing is, on a deeper level, from my experience, and I couldn't do this before I was ready to it, and I'm going to share some things with you later, but from my experience, when I learned and my system was ready for beginning to release the unprocessed trauma. I understood that there was so much fear deep rooted inside of me, fear from childhood, things that the small version of me, the child of me, the boy version of me experienced that was too much to handle for that nervous system. And it was locked in there. Those fears played out in my life. Those fears played out that on a subconscious, it blocked me from experience true freedom, from experience true financial freedom even. Because when I shifted my mindset and I worked, I took the action and I created the cleaning business with 60 people in less than 4 years. Yes, I was doing good and I felt good. I had a vision and I worked towards it. And after that, I got a lot of money in the bank, or for me, a lot of money. And I didn't have to care about that. But I still had fears in my system, deep-rooted fears. So even when I had the money, I was afraid of losing them. Even when I had the money, I was afraid that I would be tricked by someone. And then if we come to the love part, as I mentioned also, I found this woman. I thought it was my dream woman, the dream of my life, and we connected so well and everything. But on a deep subconscious level, I had fear inside of losing her, of being rejected, of being cheated on, of being left alone, as I was so many times in my childhood. And those deep-rooted fears did their job. It played out like that, right? So that's why, from my experience, some things we can solve with the mindset shifting that we did in the last trainings. And it's so powerful. If you feel nervousness, if you feel a lot of stress, if you have addictions, if you have these things going on in your body and you feel something is wrong, if you don't sleep good at night, this is an invitation in this training to be aware. And this is personal development, not 1.0, not 2.0, not but 3.0. This is maybe 10.0. This is, from my experience and the clients I've helped with this is deep, truly freedom. And also from there, a much easier way to step into your dream life. Because releasing these emotions, doing this work, it will bring down the walls. It will fill up the gap, those things that we talked about, because it might be I'm not sure if I'm taking it a little bit off road now, but it might be that your system, your physical system might still have something in it, and we'll come to that in a later training. But as you release those fears, for me, as I mentioned, from childhood, it was something about being laughed at, which made it very hard for me to do meetings as a leader, to be on stage as a coach, because I had those deep-rooted fears that people would laugh at me. And the mind, yes, I could do the actions and push myself through these things, push myself through the wall. Thanks for patience with that, but the wall or over the gap. But the fears were still down there. And when I released those fears, it was much easier for me to express what I felt, to do videos, to do acting, to be in front of a camera and things like that, which has been my last couple of years. And very important for me to also share here, I have done so much work, so deep work the last, I think maybe now 5 or 6 years or something like that. Not that important, but knew things has been coming up to the surface for me. New things that it's not like one sitting and everything is clear. I've seen so much videos about that. Yes, a lot can happen, and sometimes we can be very, very, very like, wow, this was amazing. One session and it all changed. But sometimes this can be very tricky, and it was for me because I thought now everything is good. And then a month later, a new thing came to the surface. My old way of being would have been like work, do the action, sit down, do the mindset shifting things. And my new way of being, if I was not tricked by my own protection mechanism, my new way of being would be the things that I'm sharing with you today. Sit down and be with whatever comes up. It's so powerful. But I just want to say and invite you to that this is a journey. It's not like, for many people at least, it's not like one thing, one session, and everything is cleared out. And also, I just want to make sure that I also share this, that I don't see myself as everything is perfectly now. Maybe, I don't know if it will ever be, but the thing is, the experience for me is that when a new thing shows up inside of me, a new childhood experience or a new emotion or something that blocks me, I am doing my best to be aware of the things that I'm sharing with you here, to be aware that, okay, now a new thing is showing up. This is life. This is because I opened the portal for me to invite those trapped energies to come to the surface. So I can, the things that I'm sharing with you in this training, be with them and let them transfer into something new, which frees me up, which makes room for even more flow in my system. So Pernille and Marta experiences. Pernille, I shared her story before. And I shared her story of coming into a speaking event that I did, and she was walking by the wall. She looked down in the floor. She was so nervous, and she signed up for a seminar. We did one-on-one coaching, and she even signed up for more seminars later on. And her journey, her experience was amazing. She truly changed her life. Now, the thing is that she had so much pain inside of her, pain in her body and in her stomach too, that the doctors couldn't figure out exactly what was going on to me. And what happened with her was she actually in a few weeks released that pain. It wasn't there anymore. And she shifted her life because she became she became much more confident, much more herself, and she let the beautiness of herself come out. She changed her whole being. And it was amazing to be a part of her journey. Marta experience. Marta was also, Marta was one that, she was a woman, not from my country, but she started as a person doing cleaning in my company, and she did it very well. And I invited, because she was very structured and she was a very good woman, I invited her to be an admin support person in my cleaning company, and she did that, and she did that very well too. She was a hardworking woman coming from another country, coming to Denmark and really trying to live and create a life here. And from that, she also, when I started doing the coaching, she started working with me there. She was so much into personal development, and also I did I'm going to share a thing about that later on here, but I did a 4-day seminar, which was very deep. And at a point there, and I've seen this so many times, and I experienced it myself, Marta suddenly stood up and did an exercise and shared some things from her life that she never shared before. And now I even get goosebumps now. It was amazing being there in the room and listening to what she shared. So much trauma that was trapped inside of her. So much perspective on herself, how little she was and how bad she was, and things that she had kept all of her life. In that session, she changed completely, because all of those things that she carried deep down inside of her for, I think, 25 years or something like that at that time, came to the surface, and she was ready, and she shared it. And everyone in the room, like the same thing I want to do with this community, and even on a higher level on the paid community, everyone in the room was with her and supporting her. Nobody was, as she has experienced her whole life, people were pointing fingers and laughing or even shaming her out and things like that. People in the room was loving and supporting her story and her release. And a lot of tears came out too. It has happened for me too. Part of the release. So much stuck energy, so much trapped trauma, emotions, blocks, and I'm getting a little excited here. It's just excitement coming out. All of this wanted to come out in that session, and it did. And it changed her life. So it's so very important for us to understand when we have these deep-rooted fears, it's like something holding us down. So we want to manifest things in our life. We want to truly manifest an amazing life. And I do believe if you now, and if you didn't do it, you can watch it on YouTube. And if you want to go even deeper, go into our manifestation masterclass where I'm speaking right now, and it's a free masterclass. And there's a link below the video on YouTube. But just feel free to join. It's all new right now, but because if you have something in you that want a better life, I do believe that life is waiting for you. I do believe that you deserve that life. I also do believe that why you don't live it right now, the same thing that happened to me, is because there's resistance inside of you. There's trapped emotion, trapped traumas, trapped energy. And when we are ready, and even it might be that we're just dipping the toes a little bit in the water and we're like, I have to figure out, but it's still that there's something, okay, I want to go out there. This is the most amazing journey. Because when we begin on this journey, when we begin on releasing things and becoming aware, then be doing the work here, taking the journey, will change our lives. I did it, clients did it, thousands of people I worked with on seminars and things like that did it, will change our life. And when we release that fear, the movie screen will change, because you as the projector, I've spoken about this in other trainings, you as the projector from the inside of you, from your subconscious mind, there will not be a filter with all those fears and all those things that will trick things inside of you, because you released it. So the energies will feel better. It will feel better inside of you, which will lead to you projecting better things on your movie screen, on your life, on your reality, which is a very positive thing. You will, like I mentioned before, you will turn on your manifestation flashlight, which all the time looks at the things that you would like in your life. All right, let's carry on here. And there's a little bug in this recording thing. So if I move my little picture here, it's gonna take this side down. I have to start all over. So I just leave it here. My experience, my journey with emotional healing and release, got the money mindset in place, and did manifest financial freedom, but still not feeling in flow or feeling good, and I could not put a finger on it. So It's the thing that I just shared with you. The first part for me was the money mindset. The first part was my mindset and shifting the things. When I got even deeper with this, I began on what I'm sharing with you today. I experienced financial freedom, but I still didn't feel good. I think I prepared this presentation yesterday. It took me more time than I planned, so I'm doing it today. But as I prepared it yesterday on my phone, I don't know if you have the same thing, but sometimes memories pops up, and I actually enjoy those memories because it reminds me, and sometimes it's some very great memories and things like that. So this one popped up, and as you see, this is from 2019. This was from the roof of my penthouse apartment, and behind is the ocean, and yeah, it was very nice. I lived in a penthouse apartment, and I had money in the bank. I experienced financial freedom. And I say financial freedom. I'll just put my last words on this in a moment. This was also, as you see, this is actually a bit earlier, but it's from, I think it's from the same, it's from my rooftop, from the penthouse apartment. This is just morning time maybe even. But it's just very beautiful there. I have the ocean like a couple of 100 meters, and I had a 360 view, and on the other side of this was the center of Copenhagen, and it was very, very nice. The thing was, I experienced financially freedom because I had the money in the bank. I didn't have to care about paying bills or all of this, but I didn't experience freedom because inside of me there was still something, there was still unreleased energies, there was still traumas, there was still emotions that were trapped in there. So yes, it was beautiful, it was nice and all of that, but total freedom, no, not yet. So my explanation: traumas, emotional trapped energy. Imagine something you are very afraid of. Something very dark. Like a horror movie. I don't like horror movies. But the thing is, for most people, they want to hide it. They want to take it away. Don't like it. And as I was about to prepare this presentation, this one came up for me. Like Hannibal, the cannibal, Hannibal Lecter. I don't know if you saw the movie, but in the basement, locked in behind thick walls and down there, nobody really wanted to know anything about him. Scary. Something like that. Imagine that. That was the image for me. Maybe you have another image. Our system hides the experience and the emotion. It's in our system. Whatever we experienced in our childhood, from falling down and people laughing at you, from the client that I shared with you who got raped in a very young age, from somebody who has been beaten up, I heard that from clients too, from someone who was being manipulated by a mom or dad. All of these things that was too much for a little child to handle. It's in the dark. It's in our subconscious. It's in the data bank. It's in the hidden part of us, in the database. It's kept away because our system once felt that it was too much, and we could not handle it. But it's there in the basement. Whoa, sorry. That was too much. Let's see here. I'm not cutting all of this out. Oh, too much. Here we go. Okay, this picture was all that I wanted to share with you. It's like this. It's hidden down there. It was too much to handle for us, but it's still in there. It's still in there. And it still controls us from the basement. Every time, there's two parts of this, or maybe more, but every time we are getting near something that could mean danger for that little boy or girl, even though we are grown up now, the system will do everything possible to not let us step into the danger. for me, again, stepping on the stage, all the alarm clocks went on. Don't do it. My voice kept speaking. I couldn't sleep at night. My stomach, my digestion system got off. Everything in my system was screaming, don't do this. And I know that one of the biggest fear for most people is, data shows that is speaking in public, right? But at the same time, it's also illusional, right? Because, okay, just see it as it is. Today, as a grown-up, stepping on a stage, speaking in front of other people about something that you're really passionate about, what is the actual fear here? Okay, maybe someone will walk out, maybe someone will love it, but being really like objective about it, if you put yourself on the side and watch this, it's not something that we would get killed by, right? But it feels like that. So our mechanism is trying to take us out of that part of the dream life, even though there's something calling for us in that dream life to do that. And then also, as I mentioned, there is a physical part of this, because we can have, I did have, Pernille had, Marta had, the other clients I work with had physical things in our body that we might know is or might not know is connected with this. It still controls us from the basement thing. The thing is, the system doesn't know. Our mechanism or the system operates from old experiences, so it doesn't know that it is not in danger now. So many people have fears. Spiders, airplanes, speaking on stage, being an actor, having meetings, dating, speaking the truth, whatever. And just maybe even pause the video and say, what's my fears? Some of those that's just showing up right now. And again, most of these fears, it's actually like an illusion, right? Because, well, I had a fear of spiders. But as I have released a lot of those fears that was in my system, the fear for spiders actually became less and less. And then one day I was sitting down and saying to myself, okay, Michael, why are you afraid of a spider? And I Googled around spiders, and well, there's not any logical, at least in my country. I know there's some spiders we shouldn't maybe have too much fun with, but the spiders that are in my country are not something to be afraid of. So as I released it, it's not like they become my pet, but also because I have love for other people and beings. So when I was younger, I maybe wanted to just, if there was a spider, I would close my eyes and I would snap it to, okay. Now, I have a daughter, she still has a little fear of spiders. Not fear, but she don't like them. Maybe fear. Anyway, today, I try to catch the spider with my finger and put it on my hand and then let it out in nature. It's a big difference. And yes, the first couple of times it was a little scary because it was still in my system. But it was, what I'm saying is, I know that if we have this trauma, if we have this fear, it feels like this is real. But most of those fears are coming from our past. And if we can step outside of ourselves, if we can release the trauma inside, the fear inside, well, it's not going to be that big a deal anymore. Stuck emotions are stopping the flow. We feel this emotionally, physically, mentally, sleep, nervousness, stress, etc. And here comes the Vitality Camp results. I've spoken about this before. So the thing is, freedom, I said before that once we do this, once we are in a situation in our life where we can begin to do this, on the other side of this, like opening a door, there's the freedom. There is the freedom. Emotionally, physically, like I mentioned, my stomach, my headache, my other problems that I have in my physique, mentally, because the chatter will be much less. I didn't bring this one in, but I remember that I was reading a book some years ago, and in that book it said something like there's like there's more than 1,000 thoughts to one emotion. So from my experience, if there's some fear, which there is in most of us, that fear will run a lot of thoughts in us, because when that mind chatter, it tries to hold us back from something with the mind chatter. And the root is the fear. I also shared about my nervousness and my sleep, which has improved so much since releasing things. Now, the Vitality Camp results. The Vitality Camp is actually the camp that Marta, that I shared in this training, was on. I had an idea some years ago, and the idea was, and this was even before I really got into the deep work after the narcissistic relationship. My idea was to do blood samples on people on the first day of a camp, and then work 4 days on the camp. We worked with our eating habits, our drinking habits. We did some exercise things, and also really released trapped emotions on that camp. And then on day 4, we would do the blood samples again. This was blood samples where we, on a screen is the right thing. On a screen, we could see how healthy the blood cells in the body were. The participants on this Vitality Camp, all of them saw magic transformation from day 1 on their blood cells and day 4 on their blood cells. Their blood cells on day 4 was healthy, without exception, was bouncing around like it should be. There was flow in their body that wasn't there before. It was seen on the screen before. Most of the participants had stuck things in there, garbage in their system. It was released. It was amazing to watch this. So, and I do believe still that from the eating habits, the physical part of this, a lot came from that. But I do believe today that most of this, from my own experience too, was from the released, trapped emotions. The exercises we did there, because I could see, everybody in the room could see when a person had a shift, releasing something, their face changed, their eyes became lighter, their eyes changed. It's amazing. It's amazing. Mindset versus emotional release, what I did let go of. So I tried to force myself, and by purpose saying force myself. I used mindset techniques to lose weight, to quit drinking alcohol, to stop biting my nails, to detach from work obsession and fix my sleep. But no matter how much I pushed, it never truly lasted. Meaning that I could money-wise, it helped me a lot with the mindset shift. My experience was that even though I worked very hard, and even though I did try to push through something with my mind, it was like there was this ceiling. And that ceiling, when I hit that ceiling, I bounced back. That was my experience. Now the power of letting go. When I learned to release, the addictions faded one by one. I now sleep better than ever. No alcohol, no drugs, no medication, no endless therapy. For the first time, I clipped my nails instead of biting them. None of this came from force. This is our natural state. I don't know how to explain this better. I don't know how to say this so I can somehow if you are like I was, or in a situation as like I was, that somehow there's something inside of you that is calling for freedom, that is calling, and also the dream life is calling for you. Those two really want to connect. From my experience before was to try to force things. It was a lot of struggle. My experience after learning to let go of these trapped emotions and to learn to release was actually less work. Not saying it was easier, because sometimes it's really intense to sit and be and let these things transform inside of myself, inside of us. But it's magical. Entrepreneurs and high achievers, we are so focused and used on grinding, pushing, and living in stress that we don't even notice it anymore. It becomes our normal, but it's not. And I know, I understand, I'm just going to be completely transparent about this, that it might not be everyone who's ready to do this right now. And we say, okay, I'm gonna do the mindset shifting, the exercise, I'm going to work with that, and that's totally okay. That was how I did it. That was my journey, and that's why I put both of these things in there, and I put them in the foundation here. I had to come to a point where the universe had to help me with the narcissistic relationship to get that experience, to finally stop and step out of the hamster wheel and finally understand and learn these things that I'm sharing with you here. And also, this sounds maybe crazy for some, but maybe it also resonates with you, but I was so addicted to my nervous system being in stress mode that I didn't even know what normal was. Until I tried. Wow, this is a new experience. And it was like the first couple of times where I really, really felt like this amazing peace inside and also amazing calmness. The first time that I had like this small pieces of this, and then my system was so used and addicted to the other stressed mode of being, but it was like, whoa, what is this? I want more. I don't know myself. I didn't know what it felt like to just be me, without the addictions, without the coping mechanism. And actually for me, I began to question, who am I? For the first time in my life, I began to question, who am I, when I'm not trying to put this image of a great, great, great person out there on the rooftop, in the penthouse. Who am I then? Who am I when I let go of all of these things? It was scary and it was amazing. And again, this is from me. Freedom is on the other side. Now, the science behind emotional release. The nervous system stores trauma. When we experience fear or stress, the body reacts with a fight, flight, freeze response. If unresolved, the nervous system stays in a heightened state, keeping emotional pain trapped and influencing daily thoughts, behaviors, and even health. This is, and I'll share documents with you later, this is from a more scientific explanation. It's not my explanation. Emotions and subconscious patterns. Your subconscious mind is programmed by past emotional experiences. If deep fears or limiting beliefs are stored, they continue running in the background, shaping your reality and reinforcing unwanted cycles until released. So again, it's the projector projecting on the movie screen. So if you got a lot of drama, if you got a lot of stressful situation, if you got a lot of people yelling at you, if you got a lot of things that don't feel nice, into our subconscious being, and when doing this work, let the things come up. See, okay, there's something that is shaping this stressful event. Let it go, and it's not there to project it. So the filter, the projector goes through a filter with a lot of fear. That's the wall and the gap. A lot of stress, a lot of nervousness, a lot of shameful experiences. When we begin to release, we change the filter, and there will be less of these things. And I've experienced this. The body keeps the score, Dr. Bessel van der Kolk. The nervous system stores trauma. When we experience fear of stress, the body reacts. Oh, we just had that. I think I kept. Yeah, the body keeps the score. I went the wrong way here. So, science-backed emotional release. Neuroscientific research confirms that processing emotions through awareness, movement, and reframing can rewire the brain. Some techniques, like neuroplasticity, EFT tapping, guided visualization, help shift stuck emotional patterns. I'm going to share my own with you later here, but I'm just taking from the science. Somatic work and breath work. Emotions are stored in the body, not just in the mind. Somatic techniques such as shaking, breath work, and deep body awareness allow emotions to move through and be released, clearing energetic blocks and restoring emotional balance. I'm not going to go into these techniques here. You can go and Google some of these, but I will also later on, I'm not sure it's going to be in module 1, which is still in the free. Might be that I'll take it in some of the module 2 and forward, which will be in the paid group, but I will share some of the techniques that have worked really good for me but this is, I'm not going too far away in this one, but I also learned from my journey that as I released the emotional things inside and experienced a lot of flow, I also learned that I had a lot of, that's the somatic word, I had a lot of things that were stored in my body. Things that I could not with my mind, I could not with the releasing technique release that from the body. So some of these things like shaking or breath work, some of these things, but I'm going to share some techniques later on. Some of these things has helped me also. Your subconscious mind is 30,000 times more powerful than your conscious mind, Dr. Bruce Lipton. So here's the thing, why I keep saying that we got this gap, we got this wall. You got your dream life, and you really deserve that. I believe that. The thing is that all the things that we got in our subconscious mind is controlling our life. So as I did for so many years, I tried to work hard. I tried to do all the right things. I tried and I tried and I tried. But it's kind of like a mini version of me trying to fight the whole version of me. It's kind of impossible. That's why I kept coming back to the things that I didn't want to experience. Because I had so much in my subconscious mind. And then from Albert Einstein, energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be changed from one form to another. This is so powerful. And again, if we could fear, stuck, trapped, whatever you want to call it, energy in our body, emotional traumas, if it's locked in our bodies, it's there. So again, we cannot just put new energy there. Okay, I'm going to say I'm a money magnet, I'm going to say that I'm a loving person, I'm going to say that with 5-10% of my mind, while I still have this trapped emotion in there in my subconscious, which is 30,000 times more powerful. Well, I cannot create energy, so I'm going to say this, I cannot destroy it, so I can try to force it and all of that, but I can change it. And this is so loving and it's so supporting, and that's really, really how I see the world more and more, even in those times now. Change. We can change from one form to another. So we can change the energy. You can. I did and can and do. We can change the energy of fear, of nervousness, of negativity, of fear of lack of money, of fear of lack of being able to pay the bills. All of these fears, we can change the energy. We can transform the energy by releasing it. Change it, transform it, and into higher energies. How to release fear and resistance. So one of the biggest things for me, move through fear, don't resist it. Fear grows when we fight it. Instead of avoiding or suppressing fear, stepping into it with awareness reduces its power. Facing fear directly allows it to dissolve rather than control your actions. The wall of the gap, remember Johnny that we spoke about, and the 10 meters that he jumped. So this was what I did for so many years, subconsciously, I stepped away from the things that I really feared. The only thing happening from that is that the fear gets more energy. It wins when we don't do the things that we fear, that we need to do to get past the wall or the gap to step into our dream life. So just if we avoid the fear or the actions that create fear, it's just getting bigger. So instead of avoiding, instead of suppressing the fear, step into it. This is so amazing, and I hope this example that's just coming to me now. I learned some of these techniques. I went in front of the camera. It still happens for me. Still parts of fear and emotions trapped in the system. But one of the first time that I had a role in front of the camera, there's a whole team there, and I had to remember the role, and I was getting nervous and all of these things. When I standed there and I felt it, that my whole body began doing what it used to do, normally I would react to it because I would get afraid of these feelings. This time, and I remember this exact thing, I just stand there. I felt the fear rising inside of me. And I said to myself, it's okay, Michael. It's okay. I understand that you feel fear right now. It's totally okay. I love you, my friend. It's totally okay. You can do this. I supported myself. And the thing is, like it said here, facing fear directly, just allowing it to do whatever it wanted to do. After that, it dissolved. And that's the whole thing about this releasing fear and resistance. It dissolved. The energy had been trapped. It tried to take me out of that thing or make me getting laughed at and all of that. I let it rise. I let it do its things. And it dissolved. That's the wall or the gap, dissolved the gap getting filled up. And again here with Johnny, well, he faced the fear and he took the action and jumped from the 10 meters. And he was so excited afterwards for doing this. Surrender and allow emotions to pass. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means releasing resistance. Emotions are energy, and when you stop gripping onto them, they naturally flow through you, making space for clarity, peace, and new possibilities. It's so important. My old system, my old way of being was thinking that the only way I could fight this was fighting, or trying to escape it. But when I began, not here, but in my system to experience these things, I experienced, and I shared this again and again and again by purpose, but energy flowed through me again. So what I also experienced, there was one woman that I had a session with not long ago, and she asked, but how do you keep just putting all of this, where's all those videos, where's all the creativity, how do you get all the ideas? And what I told her is how it is. I said, I don't really have to, it's just coming to me all the time. Now this presentation takes a little bit more, but some of my videos I just speak for 15 minutes. I speak what's on my mind, and I just let it go. Let just being in flow with the universe. And that's the thing. What I also experienced is kind of like when it was stress, the whole thing was buzzing. My mind was buzzing. My system was buzzing. Today it's kind of like there was a wall between me and the universe. Whereas I found the peace, and the wall disappeared. It's kind of like I'm open. Bring it to me, universe. Bring to me what I need, and I'll share that. No expectations, no nothing. I'm just sharing what comes to me. Some kind of divine information. For me, it's speaking like this. I actually, in my process, I began drawing too, and I had some limiting beliefs around me drawing because I was always told that my drawing was not pretty. So it was kind of like also me stepping into something new. But it opened up because ideas came to me. And new possibilities came to me. So I have one example for you here, because I know if you're watching this right now, it might be that you're ready to do the work and it's like, wow, this is exactly what I need. It might also be that you are like I was when I was on stage in Thailand on a very, very high level inner circle transformation event. We had an exercise in the room, the people who we were split up, and the people who in this room, we had an exercise, and this was about fears. This was looking into fears and releasing them. So we, one by one, we came on stage and shared the things that we experienced. And for most people, it's a little bit out of context, so I just wanted to share my experience here. Most people, what happened was like, Marta, I shared in my event, the Vitality Camp, she shared and she released and she transformed. Most people did that on stage. A lot of things came out, they cried, emotions came out, they released a lot of shame and guilt and fear and transformed. My turn to be on stage, just another thing happened there. We had a mentor there, he's an amazing person, very emotional, big-hearted person, and he supported everyone. He tried to support me too. What happened on stage was that my system was not ready to this. So there was something inside of me that wanted this transformation, but my system was not ready. So I wanted it too, but I could not speak the words. So what happened in that moment, this is my true story, what happened in that moment was that my patterns took over and tried to protect that thing that I was so afraid of sharing, afraid of being laughed at, afraid of what would be the consequences of sharing my stuff. So what my system did instead on that stage, and maybe you know someone who experienced the same thing, what my system did was that it began to speak about some very fear and very bad events from my life, from my gangster life. But I spoke about them. Remember that I said in my late school years, I became a clown. I figured out a way to make jokes about everything. And suddenly I stepped on the stage. I could have released if I was ready, but I stepped into the clown character. I took some very bad things and I made joke of those things in front of the whole room. The whole room laughed and everybody was thinking, wow, this is so funny. And I don't know, but I think the mentor, he saw what was happening and he understood that a big part of me protected was not ready to open up to feel those very painful experiences from even earlier. So I created a protection to not step into this that my system was so afraid of in my subconscious. To not begin to tap into this. I created a situation, I controlled the whole room, a part of me did, and I remember that when I left the room that day, part of me was like, wow, that was cool, that was funny. But deep inside, I felt a sadness because there was something inside of me that really wanted it to be seen. The darkness in there wanted to be seen. It wanted to be released, but the fear was bigger. So that's my experience. It's very, very honest, and how I experienced it. Might be that other one in the room experienced different, but that's not important. It's how I experienced it. The important thing is how you experience the situation in your life. So, step by step, the let go method. A structured process to acknowledge, feel, and release emotional blocks instead of pushing emotions away. We meet them with presence. We breathe into them and watch them dissolve, creating space for new beliefs and manifestations. All that I've spoken about now in this training is leading up to what I'm sharing here. So it is structured and it is so simple. And I also do know that sometimes it's easier when there's a mentor or at least someone who really understands this around. And again, in the paid version, in the paid classes, there are live sessions where we can do this work. So the thing here is, instead of pushing the emotions away like I did on the stage, like I did before in my life, the walls that I built, I was a gangster and all these things. Instead of pushing them away, we meet them with presence and we breathe into them and watch them dissolve, creating new space. So, as I mentioned, me in front of the camera, emotions rise, fear rise. Instead of running away, instead of just pushing through it, what I did was I was very present with it. I was just breathing with it, allowing it. Allow is a good word. Allowing it to do its work inside of me, not trying to control anything. Just and loving and supporting myself in those moments. When I do this in front of the camera, sometimes it's 1 minute, sometimes it's 5 minutes. And if it's a big release, it could be that it's going on, and I'm completely honest again here, it could be it's going on for maybe 1 hour, maybe 5, 4, 10, maybe 2 days even, maybe longer. I experienced that too. And it, as I say, it's pretty simple, but it's not easy to go through this, but the freedom is on the other side. Even with addiction could be kind of like an escape, like me on the stage. So maybe a person is addicted to alcohol, maybe a person is addicted to the phone, most people are, maybe a person is addicted to smoking, but it's just a distraction from feeling what's underneath it. So for instance, when the habit is like, okay, I'm going to grab my next smoke or my next biting nails, I'm just going to grab that, and I'm going to like feel what's happening inside and stay with that emotion. And I say it again, it's pretty simple. It might not be easy, but you can do it. I can do it. I did it. You can do it. Staying with that emotion, not taking in the next sip or the next smoke or the next phone or the next porn thing or the next work thing, but stepping aside, being with the emotion from love, deepest kind of love, this work, and from support, with love and with support, being with whatever shows up, being with it, breathing through it. Just, I love myself, I support myself in this. I know that what is happening here is totally okay, and just let it do its work. And again, this is the roots we're working with. So I'm going to share a whole training about this probably in another training, but if you want to create oranges on your tree of life, you can just not take an orange out and put an apple in there. As we know reality today, we have to go down to the roots and plant an apple seed if we want apples, an orange seed if we want oranges, a watermelon seed if we want watermelons, right? So if instead of all the fear that's been planted, we can try with affirmations and all of these things to put new things. Instead of the orange, we put an apple. The fact is, it will not change it. But if we go down to the roots and re-transform the fear, before the fear was peace, love, calmness, and when we from that place install new money beliefs, when we from that place work with manifestation and visualization, again, the projector on the movie screen, it will be much more loving and the dream life of yours that you will see up there. And the more you release those limiting emotions, the more you will see the beautiness in your reality. Keeps going like that. Carl Jung said, what you resist persists. What you embrace dissolves. I resisted my emotions for so many years. I resisted all my sadness because I learned as a boy, boys don't cry. Whenever I was hurted, I came home, I wanted love and support. And my mother said, boys don't cry. Suck it up, boy. My teeth, my jaws became so tight from that. But it didn't push the sadness or the emotions of crying away. It was in there, it was just stuck. And what you embrace dissolves all of what this technique is about. That instead of running away from it, being with those emotions. From the purest kind of love, being with those emotions. And it will dissolve, it will transfer. So using let go in daily life, from stressful situations to moments of doubt, the let go technique can be applied in real time. The key is to practice non-attachment, stay present, and trust that releasing emotional baggage accelerates your manifestation process. Something shows up, maybe some stress, some kind of emotion rising inside of a person, inside of you. The let go technique, right now with awareness, just stay present with what's going on inside, with love, with trust, with support to yourself. Not trying to do anything. It's just like when there's a storm. I'm not going to try to go outside and control the storm. Probably you are not either. Let the storm do its thing. And after that, we'll experience the calmness. And sometimes there's a storm. Let the storm do its thing and continue. Same thing here, non-attachment. But when the storm is inside, stay present with it and trust the process. Breathe through it. The Me on Stage, we had this. Rikke, I don't recall if I shared that, but Rikke was also a client of mine, and I did a post about my childhood and I think I mentioned my dad as an alcoholic, and Rikke reached out to me saying, Michael, I didn't know that I could live my life different. And she had like a story where my story really resonated with her, with an adult in her life that was an alcoholic, and she thought that was the only way of living with all the traumas that was in her. We did the work. I do have a client interview with her on YouTube on my own channel, and she released so much, and her business, I think it was 10 times or something like that in a few weeks. She transformed her life. She was just looking very different, and she shared her experience, how different she was looking and feeling, and everybody could see it. And my own story with these things after the narcissistic breakdown, I was not ready on the stage in Thailand. The narcissistic relationship took me into something that I don't want for anyone, but at the same time I still believe today, and this is a lot of responsibility to take on a person's shoulders, I still believe today that I attracted that narcissistic relationship. I attracted that woman into my life because I survived it, and it was heavy. It was the darkest period of my life, but it also gave me the present of freedom. I broke down. I melted it down. I had a crash in my software. But on the other side of that was freedom. On the other side of that was, for the first time in my life, I felt myself. I connected with that little boy that I left alone for so many years ago. I connected with me, finding out who am I? Who was that little boy who I left so many years ago? And a lot of stuff came up. A lot of the sadness that I have stuck in there came up. A lot of crying came up. A lot of tears came up. A lot of fear came up. And I did the work. I sat with it from love, with respect to myself, with support to myself. I sat with it, and I just was with that. And transformation happened. And honestly, it takes courage to let go. Distractions like alcohol, social media, work, or even overthinking are ways we avoid feeling trapped emotions. True transformation begins when we stop numbing ourselves and we start facing what's within. And it takes bravery to begin this journey. And on the other side lies true freedom. Surrender to what is, let go of what was, have faith in what will be. Sonia Ricotti. I love this. The moment you accept what troubles you, you begin to transform it. Eckhart Tolle. And again, I'm not saying it's easy, but it's so simple. Just breathe and stay with it. Breathe and stay with it. In the paid community, we are having live sessions where I can help with this. If you want to do this, whenever something shows up inside of you, instead of trying to protect yourself from the feeling and doing all kinds of distractions, stay with it. Breathe through it. Let the storm rise, let the storm do its work, and let it transform. This is releasing the traumas. Action steps. Apply the let go technique in real life situations. Stay aware, breathe through it, watch what's going on inside, and let it do its work, and just experience the transformation. Notice how life shifts as you release stored energy. Notice what's going on. Be aware of what's going on in your life. Engage. Engage in the community. Share insights and support others. Love and support each other. Like I said, and this is in the free community also. If you are watching this on YouTube and you're not in the free community, there will be a link below. So join us. As I speak right now, this is totally new. I really just want to help and support and love and support as many as possible on this journey. Journey to freedom. Journey to manifesting a dream life. Love and support each other. Love and support each other. The thing that happened for Marta in that vitality camp, there was so much love and support in the room. It's our natural way of being. There was so much love and support in the room that helped her to go through her transformation. There's enough of shaming. There's enough of all the bad things that we experience those in our life because people have experienced that from their childhood, because their parents experienced that from their childhood. Some of us are lucky watching this, doing this work. Love and support each other on this journey. And then there are some documents below the video in the group. Again, you can find the link below if you're on YouTube. In the group, there's some documents. I'm showing those documents to you in a moment. Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. Albert Einstein. So if there's a lot of fear trapped inside, there will be a lot of fearful situation in life. When we release that, less fearful situation in life. When we release more, love, abundance, all of these things can really come and be the energies inside of you, which will help you match the frequency of your dream life. What you think you create, what you feel you attract, what you imagine you become. Anonymous. Summary. We talked about understanding emotional blocks and trapped energy, the science behind emotional release, how to release fear and resistance, and some action steps. And let's go to work. As I said in the beginning, this is a very, very powerful, truthful, honest, transparent training, as all of the trainings. And this is deep work. I was really thinking about, should I do this in different videos? And it might be later on. But for me, I wanted to do this in one session, taking it all in there. And for the person, for you who are listening to this, there's a reason for that. And also, because this is deep, and so beautiful, and so powerful, and so helpful in the manifestation process, I really just wanted to take it all in at once. Because if you're ready to this, you will listen and be with all of what I've shared in this training. So I salute you. I really salute you. Now, let's see. I also prepared some documents. Let's see here. Below the video. Here are some documents as I did before. So it's not just mine. There's also scientific things in this. So you got some different, so you can read through this. I'm not going to mention all of it. There's a link also. So you can watch if you want to understand more of these things. Also from a scientific, like Health Harvard here. So that's one document below. And also some key insights from what I shared and even more, just for you to help you in your process. So some of the things, emotions are stored in body. Science confirms that unprocessed emotions are stored in muscle, tissues, and the nervous system, affecting well-being and behavior. Trauma affects the brain and manifestation. Past trauma rewires the amygdala, hippocampus, and prefrontal cortex, making fear and doubt dominant responses that block manifestation. The nervous system holds past experiences. Chronic stress and emotional pain activate fight or flight mode, preventing clarity and flow necessary for manifesting dreams. Letting go shifts energy. Releasing trapped emotions resets the nervous system and subconscious mind, allowing the opportunities and abundance to flow. Breath work and somatic healing accelerates release. Beliefs and emotions are linked. Limiting beliefs are fueled by stored emotions. Shifting them requires both cognitive and emotional processing. So, and we have both now. You have both now in the foundation. That's why I really wanted and invited you to start with the foundation. Because in this training, it's about emotional processing. And in the mind shift, it's the cognitive. Manifestation requires emotional alignment. Emotions are energy in motion. Studies show emotional releases boost performance. And the key awareness are and letting go. So these two documents will be below the video. And if you are in the free manifestation masterclass, and there's a link below if you're a YouTuber, on YouTube, sorry. This, I've been looking forward. It was some heavy, I spent a lot of hours preparing this, but I've been looking forward to share this. And as I mentioned again and again, Might be that you want to listen to this a couple of times. Might be something is holding you back inside, and you, like a soap, you can't really. I want to release something, but it's kind of like I cannot really find out where is it and how do I do these things. From my experience, just follow the things. Just be aware of that. Just let life go, and don't try to force this too much. Have an intention that you want to free yourself. Have set the intention that you want to free yourself. Set the intention that you want to do these things, and just let life happen, because that's manifestation too. Like with my narcissistic relationship, when you let life happen and you just experience the things, trust that something will show up. It might be that it's not like a gift showing up at the door, like, wow, this is a beautiful 100,000 gift. Might be that it's the form of a gift of something that is a contrast, something that is more the darkness, but it's going to stir up those emotions and you're ready to transform them. So much love, so much higher energies, so much universal power towards you. See you in the next training.